Hey guys, Jess here. So today I'm going to go over how to make your hair with, if it's textured, if it's slightly curly, if it's coarse, to make it silky smooth the healthy way, and then how to still get volume out of it so that you can go longer in between washes. So this is Jordan. We just washed her. She's ready for me to blow dry her at this point. But we use the new Silky Smooth line from Unite. So this system is unique in that you don't have to use it every time when you wash your hair, because the effects of it are supposed to last a few washes at least. So you can rotate this in with your normal regimen, but this is the Silky Smooth. This is their shampoo and conditioner. And then they have a third step, which is their applicator to put on when it's damp like this. But you just follow the directions on it, and then this is gonna start to smooth and seal down the cuticle. And then right now, I'm gonna apply this all over. Actually, first I'm gonna do a detangler just so I can get through her curly hair. And then I'll spray that on and comb it through, and I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna put oil in. So let me show you the lineup real quick. You're like, I can't keep track. So, leave-in spray. Usually I use a 7-second leave-in, but that is more lightweight than this one. The Boing Curl leave-in has a little bit of oil in it, so it's just a little bit more hydration, extra slip. So I'm gonna use that first. This is the step 3 to smooth everything out, and this is what actually lasts the longest. So she already goes a week in between washes, and I know a lot of you with curly texture can do that. So this is nice to at least have your hair looking smooth the whole time and not fighting it so much. And then I'm gonna go with oil. And this you can use obviously when it's wet, but then every night be putting that in your ends, especially if it's naturally dry or if it's the fall and winter time when it's more dry outside and we need that hydration, especially if you have a lot of static. Whatever the reason, most people are dry when they wake up and they need oil. And the last thing is this 7-second blow dry cream. So it's just gonna help my blow dry go so much quicker and smoother. It's also very hydrating, and any texture from fine thin to thick coarse can use this. It's just how much of it you're using when you're putting it in your hair. So I'm gonna get started. Before I put oil and blow dry cream in the hair, I always make sure either it's air dried, like 50%, meaning you can just do it and walk away from it, or rough dry your hair just for like 5 minutes to get the moisture out of your root, and then your end's just not so like heavy. You'll know it's about 50% when it's starting, especially if you have this texture, it's starting to curl up already. I did apply the number 3 from that system, and so now I'm just gonna prep my hair for her hair for the blow dry. Another step I'm gonna do, just because we do wanna add volume all over, is I'm gonna put a root spray in. This one from Unite is so lightweight, I can spray it root to ends if I want and still get lightweight volume. It's not gonna have a film to it. This one, just for future reference, you could let your hair air dry and still feel the effects of it. But since I'm blow drying it, it's even better, but I want her to still be able to go a good week in between washes for her hair texture. So I don't want anything too heavy. So I like to pre-section the hair before I blow dry, just because it saves me time and everything stays organized, and I'm not worried about picking up hair that I didn't mean to. So I at least do 3 sections of the mohawk from her ears and up, and then leave the underneath down. If you have more hair than she does, then you could section at the temples and at the ears, and then have the bottom. So that helps a ton when I'm blow drying. And then I'm gonna be using the Ensemble treble today. I could use the alto. The main difference between the alto and the treble of which one you're gonna wanna use is based on your hair texture being coarse. So she does have curl, and her strands aren't like super fine. They're like a good medium texture, but she's not super coarse. So absolutely we could use this one, but I'm gonna go ahead with this one because I feel like that would be best for her hair. But there is a quiz on the Ensemble hair website where you answer some questions about your hair, and then it recommends which brushes would be best for you. So again, to make this easier and not have to do a lot of work, usually if you want to get a silky smooth texture and you're using a wire brush, you have to spin it quite a bit and have a lot of finesse. With board brushes, I just rock it into her section and pull it through. Same thing if it was my own hair, I just rock it and push it through, and the brush will do all the work for you because there's so many bristles that it separates the hair and it smooths so much easier than if I was using something that wasn't as dense and hair was just kind of going through it. So for her texture, if I do it the right way in the first place, she doesn't have to go to her flat iron, and when she touches up, it might just be a few curls in the front, but she's not worrying about smoothing everything down. Okay, first section down, you can see how soft, and you can even see the shine already. I want to show you up close. If you have curly texture, most likely your curl is the most prominent on your hairline, and that's where it gets frizzy. So instead of grabbing your straightener, you'll use your brush and you'll brush it like this. So like the most twist I'm doing is this, that's it. I'm not like spinning or anything, I'm just twisting it up to pick up all those little hairs and then push it through. So that's what's nice to have the brush just do the work for you. I'm gonna do that all along her hairline. Anytime I'm in those difficult areas that normally I'd be grabbing a flat iron for to smooth out, I'm gonna use the brush to take care of it for me. Okay, now I'm on ears and above. So if you're gonna start to create volume anywhere, don't worry about it from here down. It's not gonna make a difference. But depending on how much volume you want, this is where you wanna start trying to brush up into your hair. So like on my own hair, instead of just going straight out or going down, at this point is when you pull your hair up and you start pushing up to get more lift underneath your hair. So I'm gonna start doing that from here up, and then when I get to the top section, I'll do the same thing, but I'm gonna over direct. So these positions, I have other videos where I go through like tips on positioning your brush and how to get those angles just so it's not difficult or uncomfortable. But just so you can see it in action and what I'm trying to accomplish, I wanna get a lot of volume up here, but still have a lot of smoothing. So here we go. Okay, how stinking beautiful. I'm about to do her front hairline, and I want to show you this because you have two options depending on what you prefer. I don't feel like there's a right or wrong way to accomplish this, so here's two ways. So her hair, like I said, the front hairline is the most curly. So if you're going to be touching an iron, you're probably going to be addressing this front area. So one trick is I'm going to blow dry forward, because if we blow dry back, if your curl does something like this where it goes in this type of direction, it wants to go up. So that doesn't necessarily address the curl. But if I blow dry forward, I'm going in the opposite direction of your curl, which is gonna make it lay more flat and last long term rather than frizzing back up. So you can do this with a round brush, like this one, or you can use a flat brush. So this is the flat from Ensemble hair. I can go along her hairline and pick up hair and lay it completely flat against her head and get tension that way to smooth this out, or I can do it with a round brush. So again, it's just up to you. Doing a round brush, you'll still have some volume, but I've noticed a lot of people like the style where it lays somewhat flat and kind of curtains like this. So that's what I'm gonna do on her, and I'm gonna use the flat to do that, so you'll see what it looks like. Okay. This looks funny. So I was letting it cool for a second, but I want to show you when you move it what it looks like. So her hair, I blow dried back this way in the back section. So I'm going to part her hair so that she still doesn't have everything going back. And then the front, do you part in the middle or on the side? Okay. I'm like, hello. So blow drying with the flat keeps her hair forward, and I know if you have curly texture, that's not normal. Normally your hair is gonna go up, or when you do it, you still see your curl pattern coming out of your head in the front, and you don't get that curtain look that you want. And that's usually when you reach for a straightener. So look at the result. She still has bounce. Like, using a flat brush doesn't mean it's flat. It just is a different type of brush to accomplish the look. But for her hair type, this is a great finisher, and this is also awesome if she is touching up her hair in a few days and again doesn't want to use a flat iron, but she could just mist down her front area and just touch up her front so it lays exactly how she likes, and it's the most healthiest option. So I'm just going to do some touch-ups with the hair dryer to get a voluminous straight look. And then I am going to use a curling iron just to show you the wave style for this season, that it's soft and bouncy and romantic. It's not necessarily beachy and textured, so it's completely different. So if I just wanted to leave it straight, she likes to wear her hair straight for day one, and then she'll curl it just because why not? You don't have to use a flat iron. It's nice, and she still has volume, so she doesn't have to use a flat iron. But I'm gonna show you the curls just so you can see. I wanted to show you though, if you have a more coarse or more unruly texture and you still have flyaways up here, or if you just wanna put more shine throughout, you can always go back in with an oil and just use one pump of it and rub it in your hands and just like do it through your ends like this and go over your top area. And if she were to do this at night, that's what I would recommend as well, is to make sure you're putting oil on your hands and hydrating your ends at night. You cannot get this look with an iron, especially if you have this texture to begin with. You have to be blow drying your hair and using the right products to do that. Most of the time when I have clients that are experiencing breakage and they're trying to get their hair healthy, the first thing we do is get them off flat irons and onto learning how to blow dry with a board brush properly, because they get the same result, but it's way healthier for your hair, and it's more about just incorporating it into your lifestyle and having it be your new norm. But you'll love it because you don't have to wash your hair as often, and you'll just, like I said, be touching up the curls rather than touching up trying to control your texture. So it's a much, much better option. Okay, I'm going to grab the iron and show you. I'm gonna use a 1 1/4 inch instead of a 1 inch. You could use a 1 inch if your hair is shorter or if it doesn't hold curl as well. But it's really just the tips of how to do this type of a curl is what you need to focus on. Okay, so I'm gonna section her hair. I'm just gonna do 3 sections. We'll just go one at a time so you can see the plan. On this bottom section, I'm not worried about really being intentional about it. I just wanna put some curls through here. The technique though is still gonna be the same. So I'm going to go vertically in with my iron, and then I'm gonna do a ribbon wrap. So what that looks like, and if you have a wand, you can do the same thing. I just feel like it's more difficult with a wand to do this. But you'll wanna pick up vertical sections and pretend that this is a ribbon. So now the section is laying flat. I'm not just grabbing it and wrapping it, because when you grab it like this, it ends up being more like a rope. And if it's not going to go like, I know my words are terrible, go in a ribbon like this, then when this falls down, I know exactly how it's gonna lay. I know where every strand is gonna go, and I know exactly how it's gonna relax. So what creates shine is all of the hair laying completely flat together in the same way. So when we try to do beachy curls with silky smooth hair, you take away that shine. But if we keep it in a ribbon sectioning and wrap it around the iron, then it'll stay silky and shiny. So let me show you that up close. So you're gonna open your clamp, and this is a big section, but this is my ribbon section. So you're gonna put it inside, it lays completely flat, close the iron, and you see how the section stays flat? I'm slightly opening the iron as I turn it to keep it from snagging, and then I let it go. And when we do these big soft curls, you want it to look like a big ringlet, and then when I brush it out, it'll be very soft and bouncy. Okay, so in this front section, I could ribbon and go vertical, but just so I can pick up all of these fine hairs that are curly, I'm gonna go horizontal and then twist it so that it is vertical after that. But just so I can pick everything up, I'm gonna go like this and then twist it vertical. And that will keep everything smooth. Okay, when I get to the side section of the hair, a lot of people, when we're creating beachy texture, we take little sections, and we'll probably break this up one more time. But when you want to create like a bouncy curl, and let's say your hair isn't super thick, you need to section it in a way that it will support the curl, so it just doesn't fall. Let me show you. So instead of me taking this whole vertical section for a beach wave, I would cut this in half, and this would be my section. But for curls like this, I'm gonna take a longer vertical section because when this curl is done and sets, it just has more support that it's not gonna fall as soon. So vertical, everything's still in a ribbon. And that's what it should look like when you're done. So you should still see the curl start really high, but you took this whole section. It's almost like putting a curler in your hair, like a sponge curler or a hot curler, but we're using an iron instead. Okay, so I have not brushed out her curls. I'm letting them cool. After every section that I was doing the curls, I was very lightly misting with the Unite Lip Play hairspray. This is the only hairspray that I like because it's not heavy. It's very lightweight. It doesn't dry tacky whatsoever. It almost has just a dry finish to it. So I can still use a brush and brush through my hair the next day and restyle it the next day, and it didn't weigh it down or make it more dirty than it is. So I'm just using that very lightly to set. A lot of you ask when I'm doing volumizing styles, like what do you spray after? Because you think that I should be putting a lot more in. But what I've seen the best results from is if I put the right products in before the blow dry, and if I blow dry them because they're usually heat activated, then the curl will hold because it's prepped with that. So I don't have to prep each section with something to make it hold. And I feel like that's so much more short term. So if I can do it when it's wet, going to dry, then it lasts much longer. And then by the time all those things are blow dried in properly, the hair is still very lightweight. It's not heavy whatsoever. So I can just be finishing with a light hairspray, dry texture spray, or even a dry shampoo, depending on the style that I'm wanting to create. So she is cool now. If your hair has a hard time holding curl, bump down to a smaller size barrel and make sure that you let it cool all the way. Like I do my hair, then I do all my makeup, and then I brush it out just so it's bonus time. So I'm gonna use the detangler to start brushing everything. And same thing if I was in my own bathroom, I do it this way. I put my head down a little bit and I brush towards my face, and I'm always going up and out, but we want a very soft, bouncy curl. Okay, I brushed everything out. Look at that shine. It's just soft and bouncy. So when you're doing these curls, you also don't want to rotate them too much, maybe once each section, whereas beach waves will rotate a lot, just so you can get that shine, because then they flow together. So if you have a finishing spray that adds shine after, you can do that. Or if you like to grab an oil and finish with that, you can. But this is what we're going for, is just bouncy, curly, and very romantic looking. And her bang area isn't necessarily a curtain bang, but since we blow dried it forward, I could curl these out and create that same look, which is really popular this season. So I hope that helped give you some real life application. I have loved this system that came out from Unite. It came out beginning of this summer, I think. Maybe even sooner, but it was amazing for people with curly hair and want to go longer between washes without grabbing an iron, because it really lasts a long time. So if you have her hair texture, or if you live in a humid area, if you like to air dry your hair and not blow dry whatsoever, or even use an iron, that's a great option because it just helps smooth from the get-go. And then everything else I used, I will put in the description, as well as the brushes. So let me know if you have any more questions or anything specific to this style. I'd love to address it and make more reels and all the things.